What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one we'll be breaking down what's going on with SPY, Tesla, the QQQ, and a couple of tickers out there. I'm going to talk about what's going on with the options chain for SPY, what's going on with the OPEX expirations, and also what's happening with the data coming out 30 minutes after the market opens. Now, before I break down about all this information, before I talk about all these different tickers from SPY to Tesla to Nvda and etc., let me just mention a couple of things real quick. I'm firstly not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice. And don't forget about the Moomoo link. The offer ends very soon. Put in $100 and you're guaranteed 5 free stocks with a $100 cash reward. Now, anyways, let's talk about what's happening with the market. In the morning, Waller was speaking from the Fed, and they basically said that the monetary policy should not be altered due to the ineffective management of a few banks. They also said that the Fed's going to continue to do what they have to do, and inflation is still too high, but the Fed has to continue to have a stringent monetary policy going forward. They basically reiterated a bunch of important things in the morning. The market dropped a tiny bit when they were speaking, but now it's back up in the green. And now we're going to break down more things. As for the market, we're on the run. CNBC is breaking down some interesting stuff right now. Nothing too huge, at least for the morning. I also want to add that when you look at the options chain for SPY today, there are lots and lots of options expiring, right? Millions and millions of calls and puts. The majority of expirations are going to be on the put side, but the market is 6.5+% above max pain, so it doesn't really have to continue to squeeze very hard for the market makers to benefit. And if you look at the open interest of the options chain, the 440 strike has a very, very high amount of open interest, and there's a good chance the market makers may try, or at least it'll benefit them to try to close this below 440 for a possible sell-off at the very end of the day. But it's not a guarantee if the market continues to squeeze. So I just want to note that that's what would benefit the market makers a bit more, but it's not really a guarantee. Now, if the market sells off even harder than that, and we're actually below like 440, and we see like 338, 337, for example, then I'm going to be eyeing this close right here because the open interest is very high for the 435 puts for today. So there's going to be a good chance of the market makers trying to trigger that or even drop the markets a bit more if we start downtrending. But I just want to note those are two particular closes which are important, either below 440 or below or very close to that 435 area. Now, not a guarantee though. Of course, the market could always squeeze, and that's going to depend a lot on some data that comes out at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. We have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report, Michigan inflationary expectations, and the 5-year inflationary expectations. So just notes that for the first 15 minutes, the market, we're not too sure how this is going to look or what it's going to do. And then once again, by the time we approach the data, so starting at like 9:45 a.m., just watch the market carefully. We're going to be slowly approaching the data, and then boom, at 10 o'clock a.m., the data comes out. Market's going to make a big move, so watch it very carefully. Don't just start looking the second the data comes out. You want to be watching a little bit before. That's why I called out 9:45 a.m. Eastern time. Watch it a little bit before, and then watch what happens afterwards. The market's going to make a move depending on this. But anyways, let's talk about the charts now. What are we watching for? SPY is currently at about 442 right now. I think it's about there. Right now it's holding up quite nicely, still looking very strong. And the question is, will this thing continue to pop? Let me just double check where the chart is. So if this thing wants to remain bullish, we're going to be watching the chart right about here. If you look at the 1 hour time frame, now this thing is popping, so we're currently getting very close above this 442.05 area. If this thing turns bullish, we're going to be watching resistance closer to 444. If it breaks that, 445 is likely going to come. If that breaks, it has a lot of potential to start fighting these higher 440 resistances. And there's not a whole ton of strong resistance until 450 if it manages to hold above 445. Now, if the opposite happens and it ends up coming down, watch support at 440. It's going to be very, very important. I told you guys what the market makers could be thinking, so be careful with that. And then on the 1 hour time frame, we have the 50 EMA at 438, followed by 436, the zones down there, which is where we have more support. For Tesla, this is holding up for now. We're going to see how this opens. There's both a bull and bear case. I mean, for the bulls, they're going to be arguing that there's this inverse head and shoulders formation right here as it's hovering above the 50 EMA. So it could get this push up very nicely. And that's the reason why I stress the importance of looking at levels. So if it tries to break to the upside, it has to hold 260, which Tesla struggled to do so far. Now, if, let's just say the opposite happens and Tesla breaks down, if Tesla breaks below 255, there's this gap over here down at 253. So it might come down to 253 to 252.5 if it breaks below 255. So watch that level very carefully, and also watch the 50 EMA as support. Tesla is currently at about 257 a share at the time I'm recording this. We have some resistance in the 258 zone, then 260 is going to be a big resistance. If it breaks 260, it has potential to push all the way up to 264. But if it fails to do so and it just comes back down, watch support. The next major support is going to be 257.5. And if that fails us, then we have 255.7, 254.4 around that zone, which is very close to the 50 EMA. If that fails us, 252.5 followed by 250. Another important level to look at is if Tesla breaks below 250, you're going to be watching this right here. We have this imbalance all the way down here at this 247 area. So just be very careful there if it does end up breaking down. Yesterday, Tesla was just dropping back and forth, and we could see something very similar today. So we're going to be watching these levels carefully. NIO is now above $10. How interesting is that? I wonder who called out NIO just a couple of trading days ago or like a week ago. Anyways, on the QQQ, this thing is still making new highs during this rally over the last year. Looking at the QQQ, this thing is up to about 372 right now. If it breaks that, we have resistance between 372 and 372.5. Break that, and this thing has the potential to get closer to 375. But if this thing breaks down, you're going to be watching 370 as support. Now, the market makers may try to bring this down because of OPEX, but so far there's not a signal of it. We're getting very close to a bearish cross on the 1 hour, but it doesn't guarantee anything. It's also gapping up. Now, if it breaks below 370, you're going to be watching support at 368 and 366. And after that comes 365, which is a very important level. For now, it's in the middle, so we're going to see how it reacts to the data coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. Finally, for just a couple of tickers out there, SQQQ is still holding up. Coinbase is a very interesting chart. If you look at it, it's continuing to uptrend, and it has this imbalance right here. Could make its way up. Also up here, it's just 58th level going forward. It's continuing to uptrend. Very interesting looking chart. There's a good chance that happens as it's trying to hold above the 50 and the 200. But if it does break down, watch the 54 area as support, 53.5, 52 flat, and then 50 as support. But once again, it has potential. May try to make its way up to this imbalance all the way up in this almost 60 area. That's the more bullish target. And I think the odds are still favoring that. As for Aapl, it's holding up in the pre-market. If it breaks this 186.5 resistance, we're going to be watching 187.5. If not, could come down to 185 again or get closer to it. Nvda is up again in the pre-market, testing resistance around this 433 to 434 zone. Break that, we're going to be watching 435, 440, then potentially 450 after that. That's going to be the next really important level. So far, holding up quite nicely. Let's hope Nvda can continue on the trend. If it breaks down, watch support at 425. There's this imbalance area 426 to 425, 420.69, 414, and the list goes on after that. For now, it's holding up, so let's hope Nvidia tries to hold up for now. But be careful later on. Market could sell off because of the long weekend near the end of the day. Anyways, that's what I have for this video. The market may hold up. There's a higher probability of the market selling off near the end of the day, but it's not a guarantee. I just wanted to note that because if shorts get squeezed, the market could keep pumping, but we'll just have to watch it on a level-to-level basis and just be patient for today and see what happens after the data comes out. Anyways, guys, thank you for listening. Have a great day. Market to the moon as the long term is very bright. And peace out.